Welcome to Dancing with the Odds. It is October 4th, 2024. I'm Dennis Tresca, and I'm here by myself. We had a very rough week again, folks. The Rad Dads could not find a way to get together and record at the same time. So we're going to do a little bit like we did a few weeks ago. We're each going to do our own segment, and you'll see it all together. You're going to hear our bets that we're bringing to the table, and then finally we'll wrap it up at the end, and you'll hear who we're going with for our bets this week. Okay, so thank you for hanging in there with us, and while you're at it, don't forget to hit the like button, and please subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. That way you never miss more awesome content, and you never miss a chance to laugh at our bets. Okay, without further ado, let's move on. All right, so we have something to be happy about, right? Second successful weekend of the season. Woo! All right. So we hit 3 out of 5 of our bets. And we're on an upward trend, guys. You know, up until 2 weeks ago, we hadn't hit any of our bets. And we've now hit 7 bets in the last 3 weekends. So we're getting there. We're starting to build. We're starting to lock into some better matchups here. So hopefully we can keep it going this weekend. So for those of you keeping track at home, I was 2-2 this weekend. Sean had a rough weekend, went 1-5, and Aaron killed us both, went 5-2. So on the year, I'm 10-15, Sean is 13-14, and Aaron's sitting at 500 at 14-14. As far as Dancing with the Odds goes, the podcast bets, we're sitting at 7-15. And again, a lot of those losses were the first few episodes of the year. Okay, so we're starting to build. We're starting to build, and hopefully we can keep it going. So the way we're going to do this is how we always do it. We're going to talk a little college bets, then we're going to go into our NFL bets, okay? So I'll go through mine first, and then I'm going to hand it over to Aaron. He'll hand it to Sean. Sean will swing it right back over to me, okay? So here we go. Looking at college, first game I have circled here is Army at Tulsa. I really like Army to cover here at minus 11.5. Just looking at how they're playing defense and how they're executing their offense, they're a very difficult team to move the ball against and a very difficult team to defend. I think they keep going. I think they're going to cover this. You know, to beat this team or even to stay in the same ball game, you have to be consistently consistent for a full game. Tulsa is not that team. All right. I really like Army to just run Tulsa over, easily cover a minus at minus 11.5. All right. Next game I have here is Purdue at Wisconsin. I like the under at 45.5. All right, Wisconsin had some nice moments against USC, but overall, this offense sucks. Purdue just fired its OC, and it's really hard to think that that's going to make anything better mid-season, right? Getting a new OC in there or whatever they're doing. Purdue is bad. Wisconsin's bad. Mostly on offense for both teams. Go with the under 45.5. Third college game I have is Navy Air Force. Okay, so the over-under is 36.5. I still like the under. Here's the deal. The under is 44-9-1 whenever any service academies play each other, dating back to the 06-07 college football season. It's an 83% cash rate. So I'm not doing anything different until they prove me wrong, all right? This is like the best retirement strategy for anyone in the last 20 years. You don't even need a 401k whenever you have option offenses. Okay. We're not talking about, and I said in the last 20 years, we're not talking about Nebraska in the 90s. They ran the option to perfection and ran up the score. Everyone knows that, but that was a fluke, right? Notice they're not doing it now. All right. Going into the NFL. First game I have here is the New York Jets at Minnesota. I like Minnesota to cover. I can't believe it's only minus 2.5. Are the Vikings the best team in the NFL? This is completely shocking to me. They're playing great. The only time the D gives up any points, it seems like, is during garbage time. Brian Flores' D is just playing extremely well. I don't think the Jets are for real. There's a lot going on there. I don't know if it's Rodgers. They've only produced 8 offensive touchdowns with Rodgers this year. Garrett Wilson is like non-existent. Jets D overrated. You can run all over them. I expect this to be at least 7 to 10 point win for Minnesota. Other game I got here, Baltimore minus 2.5 at Cincinnati. Baltimore just coming off that big win with Buffalo. Cincinnati's bad. They're a little desperate, but I think Baltimore's really good. They're a very good team. Lamar Jackson is awesome. I think he's going to run and pass all over this horrible Cincinnati defense. And Ravens are 4-2 against the spread in the last 6. It's just it's going to be ugly. This is another one kind of like the Jets game, the Jets of Minnesota game. I think the spread is too small. And another thing here, Jackson is he played college near there, right? So he knows a lot of people. It's almost like a homecoming. It's gonna be showtime. Hope you have him on your fantasy team this week because he's gonna light it up. And then kind of going forward for my third bet that I like, stick it with Lamar Jackson here. Big surprise. I like the over on rushing yards for him, 53.5. Okay. Lamar has run wild on the Bengals throughout his entire career, and the Cincy D line is low on gap stuffers. They're not very good. They have huge issues right now versus the run. The Ravens are averaging 5.9 yards a carry with Lamar on the field ever since 2019 versus Cincinnati. So it's going to continue. Jackson has gone over 8 times versus the Bengals in his career, and he's on 5 in a row. So I'm looking to make this 6 in a row for over rushing yards at 53.5. All right, those are my bets. I'm going to hand it over to Aaron. Take it away, Aaron.
Thanks, Dennis. Hey, everybody. AP here for another episode of Dancing with the Odds. We're doing it a little silly again this week because, let's face it, we're silly. So I'm going to jump into it right now with my college picks. The first one that I'm going to go with, Navy and Air Force, under 36.5. This is a typical service academy game. Traditionally, they're going to be low-scoring games. Both teams run the ball nearly 80% of the time. The last 3 games between these two teams have been 23, 23, and 16 total points scored. I like the under at 36.5. Next game that I got, Michigan, a 1.5 underdog at Washington. Michigan starting to find itself by winning against USC. They may have sparked a little bit of life. That offense kind of came alive a little bit. I expect them to have a little bit more fight than they have shown against Texas. I look for it to be a game like the USC game. I expect that Michigan's going to come out, probably win the game straight up, but I like them at plus 1.5. Washington's coming off of a Friday loss to Rutgers. Rutgers is traditionally not a good team. We'll find out how good they are, especially as Nebraska fans here this weekend. And the Huskies are 3-7 against the spread in the last 10 games, coming off of a straight up loss. So I would look for Michigan to cover 1.5 here at Washington. I'm going to go over to my NFL bets. I'm not going to throw a bunch of stuff at the wall to see what sticks this week. We're going to keep it short and simple. In the NFL, I like Minnesota. They're a 2.5 point favorite. They're across the pond. They're the home team. They're playing the Jets. The Jets struggled last week against the Broncos and that pass rush. Minnesota's got a much better defense. Minnesota is 4-0 straight up and against the spread this year. They're the biggest surprise in the NFL right now. Minnesota's offense will do just enough to cover that 2.5 points. I'm guessing they'll probably win by at least 7. Minnesota's the real deal this year. Green Bay, you better watch out. The other one that I liked, it's not a game, it's a player prop. Brian Thomas, over 50.5 receiving yards. I looked at this on DraftKings because they didn't have it in any other service. And the only one that it showed was 50. So I would say Brian Thomas over 50 yards receiving. He's been the lone bright spot on a bad Jaguars team this year so far. He's got a 21% target share. Indianapolis is allowing the 3rd highest catch rate to receivers at 69.9%. It's almost 70% catch rate. And the QBs that have played against Indianapolis have aired it out the 7th highest yards per attempt at 7.2. .81, so almost 8 yards a pass attempt. I expect Brian Thomas is going to get the ball rolling. He's going to get a lot of receiving yards. I wouldn't be surprised to see him get almost 100 yards receiving. Those are my picks. Like, share, subscribe. I'm sure Dennis is going to talk about us doing a little bit of a dance that's going to be choreographed. We're also going to look to do a giveaway. So share with your friends, share with your family, get the word out there for us. We'll keep putting out this content for you. Thanks for listening, and I'm going to send it over to Sean.
Hey everyone, Sean here. Sorry we couldn't get everyone together this week, and thanks to Dennis for showing us his bets for this week. We've had some pretty good success here the past couple weeks. We're about 50% last week, so I'm hoping to keep that streak up this week. I had a pretty rough week myself last week, but hey, that's betting, that's gambling, that's how it goes. So this week for college, the two bets that I like the best. One, I've got Tennessee over Arkansas minus 13.5. Tennessee's a great team this year. Arkansas, they've hung in there with some good teams, but I think Tennessee's just going to be too much for them this week. And then I also have Clemson minus 14.5 against Florida State. Florida State this year is just downright awful. And Clemson looked really solid against North Carolina State. I think this is something that is going to lead to probably a blowout, in all honesty, of Florida State. I just don't think their defense can hang with Clemson's offense. So on the pro side of things this week, I've got Miami against New England under 36.5. Both teams' offenses are just sputtering at this point in time, especially Miami with Tua out. I just don't see them scoring a whole lot of points on either side of the ball for either team. And then lastly, I've got the Commanders money line against Cleveland. This is hitting at minus 176 right now in FanDuel. I think that's an underrated line. The Commanders are looking really solid. Jaden Daniels is playing some pretty solid ball for being a rookie, and Cleveland's just been hit or miss. And so I really like the money line for this. We'll see what the rest of the guys think. I'll send it back over to Dennis. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you soon.
All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you guys sharing your bets. So now you've heard everything. We all came to the table with the bets we like this week. And on the side, we came together. We decided on 4 bets that we like, 2 in college, 2 in the NFL. So without further ado, here are the bets for Dancing with the Odds for this week. All right. On the college side, we all agreed that the Purdue at Wisconsin taking the under on 45.5 points made a lot of sense. So we're going to go ahead and lock that one in. Aaron and I really like the bet that Sean came with, Clemson minus 14.5 at Florida State. Florida State's awful. Clemson's on the rise. I really like that one. Aaron agrees, so we're going to take that one. We're going to take Sean's bet, lock that one in. Moving over to the NFL. We also like the New York Jets at Minnesota, with Minnesota covering at minus 2.5. And then finally, another bet Sean brought was taking Washington on the money line versus Cleveland in Washington. So there's a shout out to our boy Adam, big Washington football team fan. He loves the Commanders name too. Hated the old one, loves Commanders. I mean, he just goes on and on about it. So that one's for you, Adam. All right, so that's it, guys. So there you have it. Purdue, Wisconsin under 45.5. Clemson to cover minus 14.5 at Florida State. And then New York Jets, Minnesota covering minus 2.5. And then Washington Commanders money line versus Cleveland Browns. Okay, we're going to win 4-0. I could feel it. It's going to be a good week. We're going to make some money. We're going to keep this thing going. That's pretty much it, guys. So one more time, I ask, please subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't. We're trying to get to that 1,000 subscriber goal by the end of the year. If we get it, we'll dance for you. Our daughters are going to choreograph something. We're going to act like idiots. We'll do a TikTok, YouTube short, whatever, for all of you guys to laugh about. Otherwise, that's all we got. Thanks for tuning in. Let's go win some bets.